You're either PADI or you're not, at least as far as PADI are concerned. That is the message they've sent to certain markets of their dive centres. PADI have announced that for dive centres in Africa and the Middle East, and probably soon to be everywhere else, PADI dive centres are only allowed to offer PADI courses and are prohibited from offering courses by other training agencies. Failure to comply will mean having your PADI membership revoked. Why are they doing this, and what does it mean for you as a diver? It's Mouthpiece Monday time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Divers Ready. My name's James. As always, so great to see all of your smiling faces. PADI have decided that they want their dive centres to offer only PADI courses. They've rolled out a policy for their dive centres in Africa and the Middle East to start with, aimed at restricting what their member dive centres can and cannot offer to their clientele. There's a lot to unpack in this policy, so we're going to look at why PADI are making this move and what it means to you, the scuba diving public. Let's start with, what does PADI want by doing this? One of PADI's biggest strengths as an organisation is their brand recognition. Undoubtedly, non-divers, people who have never scuba dived before, recognise the PADI logo. And even though the diver in the logo is horribly out of trim, just like the diver in the SDI logo by the way, the PADI logo is synonymous with scuba. PADI is concerned that some dive centres might be plastering their dive centre frontage with their posters, logos and flags to trade on that brand recognition. Then, once the potential customer has been lured inside, a wicked stepmother will perform a mystical bait and switch and a cheaper course will be sold, and you'll end up with a NAUI or RAID or SDI or SSI logo on your cert card. In other words, you're using PADI's logo to attract customers but then selling them a competitor's product. Now, this is usually the point in the video where I'd like to remind you that the agency does not matter at all to you, the scuba diving public. All basic scuba courses are equivalent. That's why you can trade them between different agencies. You can start one course with one agency and it's all the same. So the agency will not be in the water with you, your instructor will be. There are good and bad instructors in every agency. Choose an instructor carefully, don't choose an agency. But why now? From the outside, it looks like it's been a rough decade or so for PADI. The company has been bought and sold 3 times in the last 12 years, traded between private equity firms like a used car that nobody really wants to drive, and culminating in an undisclosed payout in February last year over the death of Linnea Mills. This, combined with a spate of COVID-related lawsuits, may be the reason why Tokyo Marine, the underwriter for PADI-endorsed professional liability insurer Hub International, walked away, leaving PADI professionals to scramble for coverage. Headaches after headaches. Meanwhile, the race for second place is heating up, and while PADI is still undoubtedly the market leader, the chasing pack are rallying. RAID are growing at a rate of knots. Every time I go on Facebook, there's a dive centre ditching one agency and switching to RAID. The acquisition of SSI by Head Sports, the parent company of Revo and Mares, has given them supercharged growth capital. And SDI were quick to share the news that, according to the Business of Diving Institute, globally, SDI instructors make more money than SSI or PADI instructors, a whopping 27.7k per year instead of 24.6k for SSI or 22.8k for PADI, which is great as long as you live in a third world country. In the States, fast food joints pay more than that. No wonder so many of my younger colleagues are leaving the sport to become plumbers and electricians. Also, side note, I may be responsible for skewing the data in that survey. I answered that questionnaire as an SDI instructor and said I earned a ludicrous made-up amount of money. Oops. So maybe PADI is feeling the heat, ready to shake things up. What's been the response from the other training agencies? Well, of course, all the other training agencies were quick to jump on social media, chest beating and crying, "This is not fascism, this is scuba diving, we would never ban our members from offering a competitor's products, we love everybody." Well, yeah, obviously, you wouldn't put that policy in place because you can't. the bullying restrictive practice that PADI is aiming for here can only be applied if you are the market leader, if you have a majority share. You can't be so restrictive if you're in second, third, fourth, fifth place. You need all the business you can get. You don't have the luxury of being able to put in place that kind of restrictive policy. So get to first place in the market share and then we'll see how you really behave. But all indicators suggest any of the chasing pack of agencies are still a long way behind PADI. What will this do for the diving public? Well, for certified divers, again, not much. Remember, the agencies have no hand whatsoever in the daily running of dive trips. So when you sign up for a 2-tank boat trip with a dive centre, you're not signing up for a 2-tank boat trip with PADI or SDI, or you're signing up with the dive centre operator. And it could be great or it could be crap. But either way, the agencies have nothing to do with divers fun diving. So for example, if a PADI dive centre is poor quality and they decide to change to a different agency and offer SSI courses, they're still going to be poor quality. The agency has not made a difference there, and vice versa is also true. The student divers are, of course, the ones who will suffer. Less competition has never once increased quality in pretty much any industry, right? I can't remember the last time an agency made a policy change that directly increased the quality of the course. Help me out in the comments if I'm wrong, but when did any scuba training agency last enact a policy that was driven by the desire to make training more challenging, more engaging, more difficult, or more involved? I can't tell you. So what do I think about this? I think, frankly, it's a shrewd move by PADI to exclude their competitors from PADI dive centres. It makes business sense if you're PADI. If I was a PADI dive centre owner and they tried to put restrictions on the products I could offer, I'd tell them to go pound sand out of principle, which dive centre owners can definitely do. I have people ask me for PADI tech classes all the time, and I explain to them, I'm not a PADI instructor, I don't offer the PADI programs, but instead they can take the equivalent courses with TDI materials, and I have never lost a single customer because of this. But of course that only applies at the upper end of the system. Imagine you know nothing about diving. You are a non-diving vacationer in a tropical paradise destination with a sunny beachfront sprawling out in front of you, and you think to yourself, hey, this would be the perfect place to learn to dive. I've always wanted to learn to dive. Why not now? So the beach is lined with a neat row of dive centres, each flying the flag of the dive training agency they are associated with. Knowing nothing about diving, which one are you going to choose? Which one are you going to go and walk into? Well, usually the one you recognise. So again, going back to that PADI's logo having such strong brand recognition, I think other agencies should stop worrying about what PADI is doing and start focusing on increasing their own brand's recognition. But that is an incredibly difficult thing to do, and change is very slow. I also think this restrictive agenda is nothing new in the industry. I don't think people have a right to be shocked by this PADI decision. If you're an SSI dive centre, you have to carry Mares products, despite the fact that Mares only make one good product. Look at Scuba Pro Platinum dealers. Scuba Pro structure their pricing so that the only way you can make serious money on their products is by being a Platinum dealer. How do you become a Platinum dealer? By agreeing not to carry competitive products. So I've seen comments saying, oh, PADI's policies will never be allowed in the UK, the USA, the courts won't allow it. They already are allowing it for other aspects of our industry. And again, the onus is on the dive centre owners to make their own choices. Do I want PADI, or do I want to offer a plethora of other options to my customers? I think divers and instructors should better understand what the training agencies are from a product revenue perspective. Bear sells wetsuits, Backscatter sells camera gear, PADI, SSI, SDI, RAID, they sell books, e-learning courses, learning materials that just happen to be on the subject of scuba education. Membership fees, the only other significant revenue stream for these agencies, only apply to dive professionals. An instructor pays a membership fee in order to have the right to sell the agency's books for them. Imagine if I owned a food store and I had to pay a membership to Heinz to sell their ketchup for them. That's the deal. So for a student diver, my general recommendation, as always, is to choose the instructor over the agency. And for instructors, choose the agency with the cheapest books and maybe the fewest spelling mistakes. Chipata 8. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you in the next video. Dive safe, dive often.